I woke up and he was gone. Not just from the bed. Not just from the house. From everything. His number was gone. His social media? Deleted. Even the joint savings account was emptied, leaving me staring at the bank app like it was mocking me. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the faint imprint his body left on the sheets, still warm. My throat burned. I opened our last text thread. Blocked. That was when I knew I had lost everything. Because of something I had said. Something I never thought would matter at our age. I told him the truth about my past. I told him that my body count was in the double digits. He looked at me like I was poison. And now he is gone. And I am alone, sick with regret. But if you think that is the worst part, you are wrong. Because what he did next broke me in a way I never saw coming. Before I go any further, I want to say a big thank you to all of you who keep watching, subscribing, and sharing your time with me. If you are already part of this amazing family, thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you are new or still thinking about subscribing, I would love to have you on board. Your support is the fuel that keeps this channel alive. Make sure to leave a comment and share your thoughts. I read every one of them. Now, let me tell you how this all began. His name was Jimmy. He was 55, a contractor who had been through his fair share of heartbreaks. I was 50, working as an office administrator at a law firm in Bismarck, North Dakota. We met at a charity fundraiser for veterans. He complimented my laugh. I complimented his honesty. We dated for 9 months before we moved in together. It felt mature.
Real.
Like we had both finally found peace. I never thought someone like me could feel so seen. I had made mistakes in my 20s and 30s. Relationships, situationships. I was not proud of everything I had done, but I had grown. One night, we were sitting on the porch, sipping tea, watching the stars. Jimmy brought up his past. He had been married once, divorced 20 years ago. Said he had only been with a few women. He chuckled and said, "I probably do not want to know how many you have been with." I laughed it off, at first. But something in his eyes told me he was curious. So I told him.
Softly.
Carefully. Truthfully. He sat in silence. No anger. No accusations. Just silence. "I see," he said after a long pause. We went to bed that night without a word more. I thought we would talk about it again. Maybe laugh it off in a few days. I told myself we were mature enough to handle the truth. But the next morning, I woke up to an empty house, a dead phone line, and the sound of my own heart breaking. And that was only the beginning. Jimmy always said he was a man of standards. But I never imagined that the woman he once claimed to love with his whole heart, would become unacceptable because of something that happened long before he ever walked into my life. The truth is, he had dropped hints all along. I just refused to see them. There was that dinner we had with his cousin, Cheryl. She had joked about dating in her 40s, saying, "Men our age act like they want love, but what they really want is someone who never made a mistake." Jimmy raised his glass and said, "Purity never goes out of style." Back then, I had rolled my eyes and teased him. But looking back now, that was the first red flag. Let me be clear, I had never cheated on him. I had never lied to him. I had never disrespected our relationship. But in his eyes, it was not about what I did with him. It was about what I had done before him. That week after I told him the truth, everything started to change. His voice got colder. His eyes wandered less. The warmth between us?
Gone.
He would walk past me in the kitchen without a word. He stopped kissing me on the forehead before bed. And when I asked him, "Are we okay?" he said, "I just need time to process, Joyce." But time did not heal anything. It only stretched the silence. I tried to make up for it. I cooked his favorite meals. I apologized for bringing it up. I told him that it was just numbers, that I had been honest because I trusted him. that I was not the same woman I was at 25. But he was not listening. He had already judged me. One night, I asked if he still loved me. He said, "I do not know. I thought I did.
But now,
I just feel like I never really knew you." That line cut me deeper than any scream or insult ever could. The worst part? I started to believe I was dirty, that I had ruined something beautiful by being honest. So I did something desperate. I called his best friend, Darren. Asked if he had heard from Jimmy, if he was okay. Darren was silent at first. Then he said something I will never forget. He said, "You are damaged goods, Joyce." He said he cannot marry someone who has been passed around. I nearly dropped the phone. That night, I curled up on the bathroom floor and cried until my chest burned. It was not just heartbreak anymore. It was shame. A shame I thought I had buried years ago. I had told the truth, and the truth had destroyed me. But there was still one more thing Jimmy did. One final blow that broke me more than words ever could. 2 weeks. That is how long it took before I finally stopped checking my phone. No message. No call. No apology. Nothing. He was gone, and I was the fool still holding on to pieces of something that never truly belonged to me. I could not eat. I could not sleep. I stopped going to work. I told my boss I was dealing with personal issues. The truth? I was falling apart. My body began to betray me. My hands shook when I poured water. My heartbeat raced for no reason. I went to the doctor. The results came back normal. Stress, she said. But stress does not begin to describe the storm inside me. I thought about calling him. Every single day. I wrote a letter instead. 8 pages. I poured everything into it. How much I loved him. How much it hurt, how deeply I regretted ever opening my mouth that night. But I never sent it, because I knew. He had already decided who I was. Not based on my present or my loyalty or how I made him laugh during his worst days, but based on a number. I began to question everything. Why did I tell him? Would silence have saved me? Or would I have lived every day wondering if he would one day find out and walk away anyway? I wanted to believe truth builds trust. That honesty matters. But in Jimmy's world, my truth erased all my worth. My mother always said, "A woman's past is her shadow. It follows her, but it does not define her." But Jimmy made my shadow the entire picture. And I let him. People say heartbreak makes you wiser. Sometimes it just makes you quieter. Now I go through my days pretending, smiling at neighbors, showing up to work. But every night, when the house goes silent, I hear my own voice replaying that moment. It is double digits, but it was years ago. Those words haunt me. I am blocked, alone, and sick with a regret I never knew could hurt so deep. But here is what I know now. Regret is not just about what you did. It is about what you lost because you believed someone would love you. Flaws and all. To anyone watching this who has ever felt ashamed of their past, let me say this. You are not your history. You are not your body count. And you deserve someone who sees all of you and stays. Jimmy may never come back. But I will come back to myself. One day, one truth at a time. Thank you so much for listening to my story. Now, I want to hear your voice. Do you believe honesty in relationships should always come first, even when it could cost you everything? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I would love to read them. And if this story touched you in any way, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps this space alive. Until next time, stay honest, stay strong, stay true.